Hey everybody, Brandon Marcello here, 24/7 Sports, another episode of Social Distance. Our guest, Gus Malzahn, head coach of Auburn University. Gus, thanks for joining us. Who's cutting your hair? Have you cut your hair?
I hadn't had my hair cut like in 7 weeks. It's pretty ugly. Like every night, Christy says, "Hey, I'll cut it." No. She's not cutting my hair. So I'm just kind of waiting it out. It's bugging me pretty bad. It's probably been the longest it's been probably since I've been in college. So it's a bad look.
How close are you to a mullet? I see a little bit of a flip back there.
There is a little bit growing back there. It's about the only place my hair still grows, but it's getting thick in the back.
Yeah. So you've been obviously, I guess, splitting time between your house where you're at right now and the office a little bit. I'm sure you're like a lot of us. You're just trying to break up the mundane a little bit, trying to change the atmosphere.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It was about probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. We, started getting some routine. We're staying here during the week. I'll go in the office a little bit. I'm the only one in there. And then on the weekends, I've been going out to the lake. We got a lake house about 45, 50 minutes from here just to try to break up the monotony. But that's been our routine probably the last, 4 weeks.
Lake Martin, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You've been out to Goat Island?
I've driven by Goat Island. I've not been out to Goat Island, but I've driven by it a few times in our pontoon.
Yeah, I take the grandkids out there.
Yeah. When our grandkids show back up, it's been probably the first week all this thing went down. We had our 2 grandsons in for about a week. That was a real special time, but we hadn't seen them since. And so I think here in the near future, me and Chris are going to get in the car and make a drive.
So, I know a lot of people, we talk about what's going on right now, but when you look forward, I've heard you discuss this a lot. You think that the best prepared teams are going to be the ones that are in the best condition, obviously, but also the ones that are just mentally ready. How's your team dealing with that, and how are you trying to keep that mental edge with them?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, what you just said. Every team is in a similar situation with their players spread out. But the teams that have been the most disciplined, especially staying in running shape, is really going to have an advantage when we come back, because there'll be a period of time once we come back that we're just going to have to focus on getting the guys in mental and physical shape so we can actually get to a point where we can practice. So we've been really stressing that for our guys. We have wonderful kids right now. Just got word yesterday that we had, I think, 52 of our players had a 3-point or higher GPA, which is very good in these unique times right now. So I was real proud of our group. We're hoping once we get back, we'll have an advantage.
So a lot of people are always, when someone big hits the scene as far as a player, we're always looking for the next person. When Cam Newton was around, who's going to be the next Cam Newton? Who's the next Tim Tebow? And I think for a lot of people right now, we're going, who's the next Joe Burrow? And I've heard from several people, hey, maybe Bo Nix could make a jump like that. Joe Burrow made an incredible jump. I mean, we all know that. I mean, one of the best seasons we'll see from a college quarterback. But do you see Bo being able to take a big step forward where we're like, wow, he seems to have put it all together in his sophomore year?
Well, I will tell you this. I know for sure he's going to be better. He did a really, really good job. When you look back at the whole season last year and everything that we went through, the schedule that we played, look at the defenses we played, and then the road games that we played. I don't care if you're a fourth-year senior. You go on the road in this league with some of the teams we played. I mean, that's a tough deal. And he played, one of his best games of the year in the Iron Bowl, which you know exactly, what entails and everything that goes with that. So I think Bo's in a super, super spot. He's really turning into one of our team leaders, not just offensive leaders now. And I think he's ready to seize the moment. So I know he's just ready to get back and start working, with his teammates.
How excited is he just about working with Chad Morris? I know he's probably just champing at the bit, wishing he could have been out there in the spring practice working through these new concepts. A lot of people assume, hey, maybe Auburn's going to throw the ball a little bit more this season. obviously you're the type of coach who just wants to test things out. You try to identify your strengths in those first couple of games. But when you look at Bo and the receivers you have, how do they kind of stack up with maybe the quarterbacks and receivers you've had in the past as a head coach?
Yeah, well, one thing I'll tell you, Chad is going to build our offense around our strengths. And, if he feels like that, we can throw the ball and be very effective, or that's what he's going to do. And so, Bo gives us a lot of flexibility. We do feel very good about our receivers that are returning that have really big game experience. I know that he's excited about that. We've got 4 receivers coming in that 4 freshmen that we think are got a chance to be really, really special. So, at the same time, we've got some running backs that we feel very good about. It's just going to really be a matter of our offensive line gelling. And probably the only negative, or one of the negatives of not having spring practice and pads, is going to be that, the development of the offensive line. But, hopefully we'll be back sooner rather than later in the summer, and there'll be some type of OTAs or some type of practice that, we can actually get out there and work with them, because we feel like we got some talented guys up front. It's just a matter of gelling and, getting ready for the season up front.
And your gut of guts, which I don't know what that means. I mean, I guess your gut has a gut. My gut has a gut.
Oh, yeah. I've got a gut. Yeah.
So do you think we play football this fall? Do you feel it?
Yeah, Brandon, I'm looking at everything positive. I mean, about 3 weeks ago, I flipped the switch and put that doom and gloom behind us. Man, I'm just full force ahead, and we're preparing to play. And we've got the different scenarios, like I've told you before, about if we come back in certain times of summer, but we're going to be ready to go. And so really just trying to be real positive, and can't wait to get our players back. One thing I'll tell you, man, I miss our players. We're ready to get them back and get around them and get ready for the season.
I want to talk about your career a little bit. Some people are familiar with it, some are not. But you made your rise through the high school ranks in Arkansas, then jumped into the college football ranks at the University of Arkansas as an offensive coordinator, then went to Tulsa, Auburn as an OC, Arkansas State as a head coach, and now obviously at Auburn. When you look back to your journey going into your 8th year now as a head coach at Auburn, you've spent the better part of a decade, this last decade at Auburn. Does it feel like a word? Does it feel long? Can you kind of describe what this last, 12 to 14 years have been like?
Yeah. Well, first of all, 15 years being a high school coach, I mean, I was very blessed and was very fortunate to coach some big-time players at some super schools. And so I really enjoyed it, and got into the college football world. Really didn't know what to expect, but I was excited and kind of learned as I went. I was very fortunate the very first year. We had some great players on offense, and went to SEC championship game, and that was a real neat deal. Got a chance to go to Tulsa, and we had some really good skill guys. We had quarterbacks thrown around, and we were running the no huddle, and that was really before the no huddle craze. Then I got a chance to come to Auburn, and then just, so be it. Got a chance to coach Cam Newton. So that worked out pretty good. And then I went to Arkansas State, which, man, I really enjoyed Jonesboro. Me and Chris still got really good friends there, and we were planning on sticking around there for a while, and we felt like we could really, it was set up to do something really neat. And then this job opened up 11 months later. So we came back, and this is the 8th year. But when I look at the whole thing, and over this break, you've probably done the same thing. You get a chance to kind of reflect and look back at the whole career. And I've kind of went stop by stop. And the thing that stands out to me is the Lord's been great to Gus Malzahn. I'll tell you that. It's put me in the right situation time and time again. And this situation is no different. I'm real blessed to be the head coach at Auburn. And I know this time of reflecting's really kind of rejuvenated me and, it helped me with my perspective. And so just ready to get back at it now.
This is kind of a hypothetical, but sometimes I think in my life about what if this didn't happen or that, and where would I be, how I would have kind of gone about like maneuvering that. But where do you think your career would be? What would you be doing right now if you never ran into Cam Newton?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I really don't know, but I know that got a chance to coach, in my opinion, one of the best players to to ever play college football for one season, especially, and just kind of once in a lifetime type player. It was real special to be able to coach him. He was very coachable. And then, of course, we had one of those magical seasons where we won the national championship. He won the Heisman Trophy. He was the first overall player picked in the draft. So that's a hard question, where I'd be without having a chance to coach a guy like him.
At Auburn, it's Auburn and Alabama. It's the Iron Bowl, like 365 days a year. That, and Alabama's had so much success. You guys have had success. You've beaten Alabama 2 out of the last 3 years, and in doing so, this past year, you did some interesting things there at the end of the game, putting your punter out there at receiver and making Alabama wonder if you're going to punt the ball or stay out there on offense. And they had 12 men on the field, and you guys end up getting a first down and being able to wind the game down. Now there's a new rule that would have also disallowed a play at the end of the first half, where you guys snapped the ball with 1 second remaining and kicked a field goal to cut into the lead by like 4 points.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me, like, how this rivalry in this game has led to like some changes in college football, whether from a rule perspective or even an approach on both sides of the rivalry, whether it's Alabama doing some more of the hurry up, no huddle themselves and going to what they've done and been successful at, to you guys obviously having the success you've had against them and figuring out their weak points where other teams have been unable to in the SEC. Why is that? Why is it that Auburn has been able to kind of knock off Alabama and been that consistent team in the SEC over the years to do that? Why no one else?
Yeah, of course, you being here for as long as you were, you understand it. I mean, this is 365 days a year. There's no pro teams in the state of Alabama, and that's our rival. And we go into that game and we kind of gear up for that game all year. And really, we expect to win. I think a lot of teams, are hoping to win when they play them. We expect to, and I think it's just more of a mindset than anything. And so that's really been our approach.
You talk about you guys expect to beat Alabama. How much time do you guys spend preparing for Alabama? And be truthful, Gus.
Yeah,
you spend a lot of time on them.
Yeah, of course, in the off season, you've got times, whether it's a spring or summer, to do a little bit of extra work. And I think it's always good, especially your rivals or the important games you have coming up on the season, that you spend a little extra time. And of course, during the season, you've got enough guys around the office that, you kind of keep an extra eye on a few teams. Obviously, they're one of them. But then at the end of the day, we know each other pretty well. And so I just think it's being familiar with and knowing what you're getting into.
That last play, or not the last play, but the play we were talking about earlier to end the game with, Aaron Sipos, your punter, out receiver, and Bo Nix out there who has shown he can punt. So that's confusing Alabama as well. How long have you been keeping that in your back pocket, and what was the timeline like during the game of let's pull this out on this last play? Was it a split-second decision? What was that?
Yeah, really it was one of those deals just going into the game. Their punt returner is electric. I think everybody saw that when we played them. And we were just trying different ways to keep the ball out of his hands when we had to punt. And one was, we call it New York punt, where, Bo Nix actually punted it. I think he did earlier in the game. And so then that week we probably practiced the punter at X, 4 or 5 times. We were just waiting for the right opportunity to run it. And, that third down play that we ran the Wildcat and we tried to hit our tight end running a 7-cut, we thought he had a chance to slip out open. They actually covered him. So Whitlow went ahead and just kept it. And we said, hey, stay in bounds and let's get the ball to the left hash. So during the timeout before that play, that was really our conversation. Hey, let's get at the left hash over by our sideline, and then we'll go ahead and run our play. So when he didn't get the first down, it was just everybody already knew. And it was just a matter of getting out there and, try to get them to jump off sides, try to get a free play. They didn't jump. And we were in the process of switching our quarterback and our punter. And that's when they had 12 guys on the field. And we kind of knew it when we saw the punt returner back there. He wasn't paying attention. It was so loud they couldn't get his attention. So we knew there's a really good chance they're about to call 12 guys on the field.
All right, I'm going to ask you a strange question here. When was the first time you met Nick Saban, talked to him, and how would you describe your relationship?
I can't remember the first time. I think we talked a little bit over the phone when I was the coordinator at Tulsa. But it's professional. I mean, you know, it's a rivalry, and it's a professional relationship.
You guys haven't gone on fishing trips or anything like that? Nothing?
No fishing.
No.
Of course, I don't.
When you guys were
I don't fish anyway, you know. So, but
you got a pond right out behind your house.
I should, and I really should. But yeah, I don't do much fishing.
All right. You and Nick retire. Do you guys hang out? Maybe try to connect a little bit, or do you just go up?
Yeah, it's a rivalry. You know, I've been here a long time. He's been there a long time, and some say it's the best rivalry in college football. So, you know, I doubt it.
Rivalry seems like a code word for something else.
You've been here a long time. You know, I mean, it's a real rivalry.
Listen, sometimes my enemies have become my friends.
Yeah. Well, did you talk to very many of the Alabama beat writers? I mean, were y'all close? Y'all go fishing?
Yeah, sure. I tell them everything that's going on behind closed doors at your place, and they share it with Nick.
I know better than that, Brandon. I know better.
So I've talked with you before about your heartbreaking moments, your big triumphs.
Yeah.
What do you think's like the best moment, but not necessarily moment, oh, we won this, but the best play that led to like the best moment, something that really sticks out in your mind in your career?
Yeah, that's a hard one. You know, the 2010 Iron Bowl, because everything that was on the line, and we got down 24-0, and we came back and won the game and knew we had a chance. And really after that game, I mean, I just have great memories of being in the locker room of, you know, Gene Chiswick's beside me. And I just told him, I said, nobody's beating this team. If we didn't get beat today, nobody's beating us. It was just one of those neat moments that we're fixing to win the whole thing. And, you know, that stands out to me. I mean, there's all kinds of other, you know, moments and situations. Obviously, the 2013 Iron Bowl, the way that you win it and everything that was, you know, I guess the Ricardo Lewis play 2 weeks before, when you add that to, that was a special time too. But, you know, it's hard just to say one.
You seem to downplay things a lot. Remember after the kick six, you almost were downplaying what just happened. Do you remember that moment? And
No.
Chrissy, your wife?
No, I don't. Was that after the game, or was
right
it
after the game in the press conference? Yeah, we're like, is that the best ending you've ever been a part of? And you're like, you know, I have to think about it. You know, maybe, I don't know. And your wife was off the side going, just say yes.
Yeah, you know, I tell you what, when you're in the middle of something like that, like, and somebody asks you a question, is that the best? Just like you ask, what's the best memory? Your natural instincts go, hold on, I need to really take a step back before I say something. So it was kind of one of those deals, probably. But yeah, looking back, I mean, yeah, I probably should have said yes a lot quicker.
It's your first year as a head coach. You just beat Alabama in the most improbable play ever, and you're going to the SEC championship game.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that was a pretty neat moment.
That 2013 team we know was very talented, but in some ways, do you feel like you guys overachieved a little bit, considering how you started the season and had to build it up and faced all those top 5 teams near the end of the year?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we overachieved because we had some talent, and those guys were like scarred from the year before. And once they came together, they were on a mission. And then we had some success. And I just remember after we won the Texas A&M game, like, we got a chance. We got a chance to be pretty good. And they kind of felt it. And we just got that momentum. And but we were a talented team. I mean, we had, Nick Marshall. I mean, he was a playmaking dude. I mean, he was a really special player. And then we had really good players around him too. So I don't know if we overachieved. I just think it was just a real good moment to be a part of, and everything kind of came together.
Is Nick Marshall one of the more underrated players from like a public perception? No one really talks about him, but I mean, what he did those 2 seasons
Oh
is
yeah,
incredible.
Nick Marshall he was a great player. He wasn't a good player. He's a great player, and I wish he would have tried playing quarterback. In the NFL. Went to the Senior Bowl and called me that after that first practice. Coach, I'd rather just play corner. I said, man, I'd like you to stick him, but he didn't want to do it. But he could. I really believe he could play quarterback the next level. Boy, he was a dynamic player.
Really smart on the field too.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yep. Yeah, tough, smart, had really good instincts. He could throw the ball well too. So he had everything you wanted.
the moment that sticks out to me with him is that play that tied the Iron Bowl in 2013, where he's looking at the sideline and he's wanting to do, I think, was it a pop pass or whatever?
Yeah,
you guys were setting that up all game.
Yeah. I think we ran it like four times out of the 6 plays in that 2-minute situation, trying to set it up. And then he looked at me and he said, one more time. And of course, Rhett was on the other end. Coach, we got 3 timeouts. We got to call a timeout. And I didn't want to, call a timeout and let him kind of talk through and all that, because we knew we had the look. And so we ran it one more time. And of course, Sammy came wide open, and it was one of those real memorable plays too. And I tell people, if the kick 6 hadn't happened, that would be the play that everybody would be talking about. And they'd probably have a name for that one. And of course, that's the one that you started the RPO 3 yards downfield talk that whole offseason, I believe. I believe it was that offseason that, they started talking about changing the rule.
Is that why you're not going to hang out with Nick? Because after every time you beat him, there's some type of changing of rules?
Nah, it's a rivalry.
That's just going to be your answer to everything. It's just a rivalry.
You understand that?
Well, I guess, but I'm not like in the office every day trying to find a way to beat someone, Like
You're not hanging out with Alabama beat writers right now, so.
No, it's not. I'm on an island right now. So I talk about your best memory. What's your worst memory? What's one that's just heartbreaking to you that you go, if I had done this, it would have changed it?
I don't know if, I mean, probably there's, there's ups and downs, at this level. And, but, when you have that 2013 special season, and then you get beat with 13 seconds left, that's a tough one. That was a tough one. We had a chance to win that game and win the national championship. So that's probably the moment when you ask a question, that's probably the moment that comes to mind more than any other.
When your career ends, is it successful to you if you do not win a national championship as a head coach? Or do you think you have to win it to be satisfied?
I mean, that's a goal. That's a goal of mine. It's a goal of, we definitely like to, and I definitely like to, and I think we got a chance here. And that's one of the things that motivates me. And so it's hard to kind of answer that question right now. Once I'm all said and done, maybe you ask that question and I could answer it better. But, here at Auburn, we got a real chance. Before every season, we at least have a chance. And of course, we've got a quarterback right now, like we talked about earlier in Bo Nix, that I think he's got a real chance to lead us to 1-2. So, that's our mindset.
You've mentioned it a couple times that before Bo Nix leaves Auburn, that you're going to win a championship.
Yeah. Yep.
Why do you say that? I mean, that comes so easily out of your mouth, and we're not accustomed to hearing that from Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, I just think that, he's got what it takes. Physically, he's got what it takes. Mentally, he's got what it takes. He loves Auburn, and he has a chip on his shoulder. And that's the formula. So I think he's got a real chance.
So let's say things open up, we get back to normal. What is the first thing you do in public? Where do you go?
Well, I'm getting a haircut. I mean, I'm getting a haircut, and and I don't know what else. Probably just going to go out to a restaurant and sit down and try to be normal.
Yeah, I thought you were just going to say I'm going to go through the Taco Bell drive-through.
No, I'm about to drive food out right now.
And when you get those players back together in the same room and you get to look at them eye to eye finally, what's that moment going to be like?
Oh, I'm excited just thinking about it. And, I think our players are going to come back with a different mindset too. So we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, Gus, thank you so much for joining us on Social Distance. Thank you for always believing I was the best writer to ever cover you.
Well, like I told you, Brandon, I mean, you're one of the hardest working writers I've ever been around. And I know we're going to miss you here, but we're excited for you that your new opportunity, you're going to do great, and you get a chance to go back home.
Back home. And here's the thing. I'm in Northwest Arkansas. I'm going to do my best to just like ruin everything you've ever done, all the goodwill here. I'm going to say, he wasn't really that good.
That's right. That's right. I know you'll help with that.